that year before.
Yeah. Liam, it was an all-out war. What like people were expecting. Just talk me through those opening rounds. What were you making of what Anthony was giving you?
I thought obviously he boxed exactly how I thought he'd box. Obviously I didn't really give him much to think about early on. Obviously my legs were asleep. I started warming up quite early and then stopped. Thought 3 and 10 was going early. We got told 9 minutes when this was finished, and then I just think that made me start a little bit slow. But you know, I'm not going to be too harsh. I said he's a very good fighter early on, and he was. You know, he was good for the first couple. And then with me not really starting the best, I just thought, you know what, just turning into a fight early doors, and I did that probably a little bit earlier than I expected. I said all along he'd be very competitive early, and he was.
You rocked him with a huge shot, the first knockdown. How surprised were you that he lasted the rounds after that?
Again, I said before, I'm very surprised. I was, you know, the shot was a proper knockout shot. You know, shot right down, and I thought the fight was over. And he done very, very well to get up, and I've got massive respect for him for getting up there. Maybe it was the Liverpool crowd, you know, but something dragged him up, and he finished it well. But I just thought, you know, you're not ready to go just yet. But I knew as soon as I hit him with that right hand, I knew the right hand was on the wall. I thought I'll get him again. I'm too good a fighter not to land clean again.
And I was sat on the same row as your brothers, and I could hear Stephen and Callum shouting every second of every round. Do you hear them shouting? Do you hear what they're saying very clearly?
Yeah, obviously I hear close voices. Obviously I hear the voices that it's mad. I hear the voices that are always there. You know, always shouting. Obviously my 3 brothers, I hear loud and clear. I've got a mate who's travelled everywhere. He's quite loud. I always just hear little voices. And obviously it's either switch on or it's some sort of shot.
Was it relief when he finally caved in for you? Did you know that it was coming?
It's obviously relief any time any fight ends, isn't it? But like I say, you know, if he got up then, there was only round 8. I definitely got to him again, whether he got up again or not. I feel when I did land flush and clean, it always seemed to have an effect.
And then obviously it's a tough question to answer now, but it is inevitable. Where do you see yourself going forward after this? What sort of match will be looking for?
Just hopefully Eddie can push me now and back me now. Obviously I knew, obviously off the back of the curve, I've lost, he was going to use me for maybe, you know, obviously both for a Fowler, like as in, it's a bit, the fight sold, so I can't really knock him. It was unbelievable, you know, the crowd was very good. But like I said, I'm past that stage now. I was said and true, just fought for a British title that I had 7 years ago. It's got my name all over it. I think just back me now, give me one last push. If I don't make it, I don't make it, but I'm done then. So just give me one last push at some big fights. You know, he's promised us the Vargas fight, so hopefully that can be made.
Yeah, unbelievable atmosphere as well. What did you make of the reception?
It's unbelievable, something I'll never forget. Obviously, to have the reception I got against another Scouse lad is something that honestly touched me, and again, I'll never forget that ring walk, and I can't wait to get home and watch it again.
Liam, you embraced with Anthony at the end of the fight for a couple of minutes. What was said? And
no, I just obviously, you know, I said beforehand, I got asked the question. I think it was off one of the matchroom guys saying, would that, you know, after the fight, would I help Anthony back if I was a winner? And I said, of course, but you know, I needed to be fully up for that fight beforehand, and I needed to switch on. If I weren't switched on, I'd come unstuck. You know, he's a good fighter, and if you're not switched on, you can come unstuck. So I needed to be fully switched on. And I just said to him, you know, more so as well, I said to him, massive respect for how you got up off that first right hand. You know, it was a finishing shot, and I was very surprised how he got up, and you know, he got up well. So obviously the fight's done. I've just shared a very good fight with him in front of 10,000 Scousers. You know, I've got a lot of respect for him now.
in the build-up to the fight, it was sort of, the impression was that, yeah, the quote was that he jumped the queue in the chip here. Do you feel the same way now after being in the ring with him?
Well, yeah, because obviously he's just said himself after, you know, and that may have been the difference. You know, I've said from the start, you know, match me at any of them super welterweights on that bill tonight. Conway, JJ, Troy, Cheeseman, Fowler. It's very, very competitive early on. They're all very, very good fighters, but I've just been experienced now, and I fought at a little bit of a higher level, and I just think it comes me to play. You can't buy the experience I've got.
And lastly, you sort of touched upon wanting the Vargas fight. Is that something you want next, or do you reckon that's an adrenaline response?
Yeah, that was always a fight that, you know, once I heard about it, I just, honestly, I love that fight. He's half Mexican, whatever he is. He's been in some good fights himself. He loves a bit of a war himself. And he was a massive name. He was a two-way world champion. So once Eddie mentioned that, that was a fight that I just seemed to claw onto and always wanted. And obviously I've come down his head and over it for 3 years now since I beat Eglinton. But hopefully that can be made next. If not, just give me one last push towards some big fights. You know, I think I've paid my dues now. As I said before, I was British champion, what Ted and Trey were fighting for today, 7 years ago. I think just give me one last push at see how far I can go. If I don't get there, I don't get there.
Eddie, it was a real battle of attrition out there amongst an unbelievable atmosphere in one of the best fighting cities in the country. What were your thoughts sitting at ringside? I could see you shouting all night. You look like you were loving it.
It was a great night. I was shouting obviously a lot with the Ted Cheeseman fight. He's a part of the Matchroom gym, and he's just in unbelievable fights. And it was such a great fight. I mean, Troy Williamson was brilliant, strong. And after that fight, I wondered if we could kind of live up to the expectations of the main event, which we did. The atmosphere was brilliant. And it was good to see Beefy actually soak it up and enjoy it. Fowler came to the ring quite quickly, and Liam took his time. And I think that was kind of the mentality a little bit of the fight, which was, I think, Liam sort of realising that actually, no, I'm going to enjoy this. And it was an unbelievable reception, great atmosphere. And the main event was great. Like Liam said, Fowler started well, and then it was just the world-class ability of Liam Smith that just took over the fight. Calm as well. Got the cut in the first round, never really panicked, just took his time, knew what he was going to do, knew how the fight would unfold. And the counter right hand that knocked Fowler down was an unbelievable shot. And listen, he did well to get up from that one, because that was a heavy knockdown. And from there, it was only going one way. And with regards to the Jesse Vargas fight, I think when Liam lost to Kurbanov, although 99% of people thought he beat Kurbanov, I said to him, you need to get a big win, because the Jesse Vargas fight, you're coming off a loss, Vargas is coming off a loss, it's just not the fight that it could be. And I felt like if he had this fight tonight and had this profile fight and people dialed into the fight, it could give him momentum to go into a Vargas fight. Vargas has signed for that fight because he's still under contract for a fight from us from the Mikey Garcia fight, so he's ready and waiting. Liam's agreed to that fight already. We can just go straight into it, and it's just his eye, and I'd like to do that very early next year. I don't see why he should wait around and have 6 months between fights. He's actually had quite an active year with the Kurbanov fight and Fowler, and yeah, brilliant.
Active for me.
You mentioned Liam Smith's future, but we can't ignore the heart that Anthony showed tonight in front of a real hostile crowd for himself. Where do you see him going from here?
I just felt that tonight for him was a no-lose situation, because if he was to win, he'd just catapult himself to world level. And he was stuck looking for big fights at domestic level. Ted Cheeseman chose to fight his mandatory, Troy Williamson. Leheraj is tied up. Fitzgerald's not fighting at the moment. And I couldn't deliver him a big domestic fight. So I said, look, here's a massive jump up and a gamble. But if you lose, I think you'll do well enough to get the respect of people for taking the fight, and then you just come back to the level you were at anyway. And I think he should fight Leheraj. But a lot of the chats in the change room, and I think Liam will agree as well, I think he should look to move up, to maybe to 160, because he's been at that weight since I think he was 17. And but he's a big 154. But also Liam is, I don't know whether he classed himself as a big 154, but he bossed him, and he actually bullied him in the end. So it doesn't matter whether you're rehydrated to 175 pounds. You know what I mean? If you're not strong at the weight, you're not strong at the weight. But it wasn't even that. It was just a good European level fighter against a world class fighter. Basically, that was what you saw tonight.
Eddie, with Liam tonight and Callum 2 weeks ago, is there any possibility of a big Liverpool stadium fight with both the Smith brothers?
Yeah, we always talked about it with Callum, and it was sort of before the pandemic. Anfield was a dream to do. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think we could have sold 20,000 tickets tonight. We had just under the full capacity, 9,700. Mate, people were going nuts for it. People were phoning me up saying, we'll pay treble. we'll pay whatever it is, just let us know how much. I said, well, I don't have the tickets, leave us alone. And they sold out within a couple of days, and that really surprised me, because Liverpool does do well at the gate, and you do get sellouts when Callum boxed Rocky and stuff like that, but this went really quick. So, to do Anfield, you need something major. Maybe Callum will fight Liam. Who said that, Mike? Or Jake Paul. Jake Paul.
Eddie Magomed was in the stadium tonight watching the fight. I think he was expecting to be called into the ring to speak to him.
He came up to me, I didn't realise who he was, and our sister was there, and he went, hey, did you call my name? And I thought, who's that? He had a hat on, no disrespect, but I didn't know. Absolutely. I mean, look, Liam will choose his fights with us, but I've got no interest in that fight at all.
Yeah, I know what I said that he messaged me beforehand saying I've come to your house now, so I just told him where to go, to be honest with you. I said, yeah, you've come to Liverpool to watch. Should have been you in the opposite corner. See you later. Like that ship sailed, it's gone now. That's out my system, man. It's like, unless they made me a very, very good offer, but then how can they make me a good offer? Because I'm never going near Russia ever again. So I just think that.
But that was a fight that we spoke to MTK about originally, which was we'd be interested in doing a Kerbenov fight back, and they just said, look, we ain't coming. They wouldn't even entertain it. I don't even think we got to an offer.
He just said to us he'd be willing to come here to.
I bet he's now. But also he can't get a fight. He's had that fight and they ain't fought since, has he? I mean, so. But no, I think Liam showed tonight. That's why I said that kind of fight's important, because that's watched all around the world by people going, wow, Liam Smith, he's a draw. And look at that stadium. And I just think the Vargas fight is the fight.
Would you bring that here again?
Could do it here. Callum needs to fight. Paul might even make a comeback. You never know. And Swift, the upper cruiser. So listen. I think with Liverpool, you really have to get the show right for it to work, because they know they're boxing inside out. So when you put on a great card, they come straight away.
I said that me and Fowler would have sold anyway, but then the undercard was very, very good also. So that's why it sold as quick as it did.
Yeah, but they get it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They know it's a good show. I've put shows on here before that I knew hand on heart were great, and they did so.
Where does that rank among the cards you've done, especially
right up there? Yeah, brilliant.
Liam, can I ask where that win ranks? I know you've said that Fowler was a level below, but it was a make or break fight.
Look, first, a sweet win. It's right up there, obviously, because of the Liverpool. I said that it would have been very, very hard to show my face tomorrow. And I did remind me enough times. It ruins my legacy if I would have lost to Anthony Fowler. I've been a former world champion. If I lost to Anthony Fowler, it ruins everything I've won. Now I just think, you know what? I sit back now. Whatever I go on to do from now, I've gone through a stage. I've been British champion, Commonwealth champion, world champion. I've never lost to a Brit, and I probably won't lose to a Brit now, because I'm probably not going to fight one. So I'm very proud of that, to be honest with you. So it's up there, as in it was a good feeling because of what it was.
And you said earlier in the week it was a little bit personal to you. Is there newfound respect for Anthony Fowler now?
I made it personal for my own sense of reason. I had to be switched on for that fight. I lose again, as I did reminded me enough times. I was finished, and if I was in the fight thinking, oh what, I didn't even want this fight, training. I said I weren't going to train, that's why I didn't do the handshake. I weren't going to turn up there and then train lackadaisy, think, oh, it's an easy fight, and then be not fit or take me off the ball and get took out with a shot. I had to be the way I was to be switched on in camp, to be in the condition I was, and obviously to put on the performance.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Any more guys? Got time?
Just a quick one, Eddie. If the Vargas fight does come on and you could get the card together, could Anfield be considered to host it?
Not for that fight, in my opinion. I think it's always a Golovkin, a Canelo, a massive domestic fight. But I think here he sells out here, the Vargas fight, and the Zone are happy to take that fight to Vegas as well early in the year, January, February. I think there was 10,000 here tonight. I think a few thousand will go there as well.
Yeah. So Liam, is it an ambition of yours to fight at Anfield before you end your career? I know it's a...
Of course, it's everyone's. I think if you could even offer Blue Noses a chance to fight at Anfield, I swear, I'll tell you. No, but they would obviously, because the show we had that Goodison, Steve and Callum fought on the with Bellew. I do think it'll do good numbers regardless, just because it's a show at Anfield, but you do need a big name to go
There's a
there.
difference between doing 20,000.
Yeah,
It
of
wouldn't
course.
look great in there.
Yeah,
Which
it
is
would,
still an
because-
unbelievable achievement. I mean, look,
Yeah.
when Bellevue boxed at Goodison Park, although we only had 3 weeks, we were right up the other end, and you know, we had 18,000 or something, which was a brilliant, achievement. But
Yeah.
if you really want to go, you really need to do 40,000,
If
and
you
that's
build half
tough.
of Anfield,
Yeah.
then it will be an achievement.
I wouldn't want to feel half of Anfield now.
Do you know what I mean?
No. Exactly.
Can I just get one each, please? Is that alright?
Okay. I'm not going to do any afterguard, so if you want to ask any out there, no.
Liam, you told me Scouts Derby, no one in the family's lost one. Was that added pressure with how many people there were out today, the atmosphere, how it was, and obviously...
Look, it's very easy and simple now, but sit and think of the pressure I had on me before that fight. Like I said, I lost everything I've probably achieved, really. I don't really get, probably lost all respect of what I've done previously. Lost Anthony Fowler in front of, a lot of my fans today. So there was pressure on every way. The Scouts Derby thing, I'd never lost to a Brit. I want to kind of challenge for a world title again. I lost Anthony Fowler, every single one of them things is out the window. So there was a lot of pressure beforehand, definitely.
Just from me, Joshua Usyk 2 has been signed. Can you sort of talk about
Well,
that?
it's already, it was just that the
Just confirmed.
rematch was triggered today officially in writing, so just a good time to do it, obviously before Fury Wilder, because the winner has to fight Dillian White, unless they fight the undisputed, which can't happen because the rematch is contracted. So that's all cleared up, and we'll move on and see what happens.
I should have done a thing with you before this Fowler fight.
What?
For Rolex, shouldn't I?
A Rolex?
Yeah. You wanted this fight so much.
Do it
You
now.
wanted this fight
You
so
told me-
much.
you told me- You told me it was an easy fight. And now you want a Rolex.
You wanted this so much.
That's why you got a lot of money. No, you got a lot of money instead. You got a lot of money and you weren't prepared to fucking negotiate, you know that. You knew how much I wanted it.
Don't worry about the WBC with Dillian White.
I'll worry about everything. Why should I be worried about that? With all respect. Oh yeah, I mean, they've come up with a resolution. So there's a big legal case going on, which will be disclosed soon. But that's, they come up with the idea for the winner has to fight Dillian White. So